Sometimes the most powerful scream is complete silence. That's right, my friends. Nothing messes with a person's mind more than your decision to simply stop showing up for their drama. People think they're in control when you react, when you explain, when you defend yourself. But the moment you step back, the whole game flips. They can't ignore the one who refuses to play. Before we dive deep, hit that like button, subscribe to Powerful Stoic Habits, and join this family of people learning how to turn pain into power. Trust me, today might just change the way you look at silence forever. Hey folks, imagine this. You're at a huge party and there's this one person who's been tapping on a glass over and over, trying to get your attention. You keep turning your head every time you hear the sound. It's annoying, it's constant, and they love it because you respond every single time. Now imagine, you stop looking, you don't even flinch, you keep dancing, laughing, living your life. Suddenly, that glass tapping gets louder, faster, almost desperate. They're not used to being ignored. That, my friends, is exactly how it works in real life when you decide to go silent. See, they told you silence was weak. They told you ignoring someone was petty. They told you you'd look scared if you didn't fight back. But here's the truth. Reacting is what they want. Your reaction is their fuel, their oxygen. You take that away, their fire doesn't burn brighter. It burns out. Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. When you ignore them, you're not running away. You're taking your mind, your peace, and your energy back." Let's break another lie while we're at it. They'll tell you, if you don't speak up, they'll think they've won. No, my friends, when you don't speak up, you're showing them they don't even matter enough to get a response. You're not giving them victory, you're giving yourself freedom. Think about it. Do lions turn around every time a small dog barks? Of course not. The lion keeps walking because it knows its power isn't in proving itself to noise. It's in being above it. And the fun part? When you ignore them, they can't stop wondering, why aren't they reacting? Did they find someone else? Are they happier without me? You become a locked door, and nothing drives human curiosity like the door they can't open anymore. They'll try tapping, they'll try knocking. Some will even try kicking it down, but you've already moved out of the house. In Stoic philosophy, this is called self-mastery. When you refuse to be emotionally hijacked by people who thrive on chaos. Epictetus put it perfectly. It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. And sometimes the most powerful reaction is no reaction at all. You're not here to feed their ego. You're here to feed your growth. So here's what I want you to remember today. Ignoring them is not avoidance, it's elevation. It's stepping out of the boxing ring and watching them swing at thin air. It's realizing your energy is the most expensive currency you own, and you're done spending it on people who keep you broke in peace. Write this in the comments. My silence is power. Let the world see it. Let yourself see it, and let them see it too. Press that like button, subscribe to Powerful Stoic Habits, and stay with me, because we're about to uncover exactly why your silence will keep them up at night. You are strong. You are focused. You are untouchable. Number 1, the addiction to your attention. They don't miss you. They miss the power they had when you couldn't stop reacting. My friends, here's the truth most people won't tell you. Some people are not addicted to you as a person. They're addicted to the emotional high they get from pulling your strings. You were never just you in their eyes. You were their favorite source of energy, their ego's daily meal. And every time you replied, argued, defended yourself, or explained, you fed them. You were like a vending machine for their validation. Push the right button, out comes your emotion. Imagine this. You're at a carnival, and there's this old claw machine filled with prizes. They've played it so many times, they know exactly how to grip the joystick to make the claw grab something. And every time it worked, they'd smirk, because they had mastered the game. Now imagine one day the machine doesn't move anymore. No sound, no lights, no prizes. Just stillness. They keep tapping the glass. They shake it. They put in more coins. But nothing happens. They don't care about the prize anymore. They care about the control they used to have, and it's gone. That's what your attention is to them. A game. A machine they think they can always win. The moment you stop giving them that attention, the panic sets in. Suddenly, the easy supply is gone, and they can't stand the silence. Questions start flooding their mind. Why aren't they reacting? Who has their attention now? Did I lose my hold on them? And that's when the fear creeps in. Not fear of losing you as a person, but fear of losing the control they had over your emotions. And here's the part they'll never admit. They built their confidence on your reactions. Every time they could make you upset, jealous, or desperate, they felt powerful. It's like a magician pulling a trick in front of an audience. Without applause, without gasps, the magic feels meaningless. Without your reaction, their tricks feel cheap. Now, some people will try to convince you that ignoring them is childish, or that you owe them a response to be mature. That's a lie, a beautiful manipulation wrapped in politeness. Because here's what they're really saying: I'm losing my grip, and I need you to give it back. But you, my friends, are learning something powerful. Not everyone deserves the privilege of your attention. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Your attention is not a public park for anyone to walk in and leave trash. It's a private garden, and you get to decide who enters. When you start guarding that space, you'll notice the people who only came to take will either panic or leave. Let them. That's not loss, that's cleansing. The difficult part? It's real. Because at first you'll feel the pull. You'll want to reply to the text, answer the call, explain yourself just one last time. You'll convince yourself you're doing it for closure, for peace, for fairness. But you're not. You're doing it because silence feels uncomfortable at first. It's like giving up sugar. The first week is hell because your body craves it. But just like sugar, their drama has been an unhealthy addiction, and once you break free, you start to see how much better you feel without it. They will test you. They will throw hooks disguised as innocent questions. "Hey, how have you been?" Or bait you with accusations. "I guess you're too good to talk to me now." It's all part of the same game, trying to get you to feed them again. Your job is to recognize that every reply is a deposit into their account, and you're going bankrupt in peace if you keep paying. Let's shatter another myth. Some people will say, "But what if they think I don't care?" My friends, that's the point. You are teaching them something vital. Their opinion of you is no longer the currency you live by. You care about your peace more than you care about their approval. That's the first step to becoming untouchable. Epictetus said, "It is not things themselves that disturb us, but our opinions about them." Your opinion of yourself has to outweigh theirs, because the moment you stop needing their validation, you become something they can't handle, free. And yes, at first they'll laugh. They'll tell themselves you're sulking. They'll act like they don't notice. But over time, the cracks will show. They'll start trying harder to get a reaction, posting things to make you jealous, sending accidental messages, even involving other people to pull you back into the mess. That's how you know it's working. Because if you were truly irrelevant to them, they wouldn't bother. The effort they spend trying to break your silence is the proof that it's driving them insane. Think about the last time someone ignored you when you expected a reaction. Your mind didn't let it go. You replayed it. You questioned it. You wondered if you lost something. That's exactly what happens to them, except they're not just wondering, they're spiraling, because they're used to you feeding their ego, and now they have to sit with their own emptiness. And here's the beautiful twist. The more they try to figure out why you're ignoring them, the more they end up thinking about you. Silence turns you into a mystery, and human nature can't resist trying to solve a mystery. You're not chasing them anymore. You're not even looking at them, and yet they can't stop looking at you. That, my friends, is the quiet revenge Stoics talk about. You don't have to burn bridges or slam doors. You simply stop walking into the same rooms and let them notice the absence. Seneca said, "He who does wrong is the first to suffer. Let them suffer in their own restlessness." You're moving on. So today, I want you to make this a declaration to yourself and to the world. Your attention is not free. It's earned, and those who waste it lose it. Write it in the comments. My attention is earned. Show yourself. Show the world around you, and most importantly, show them without saying a word. Stay with me, because next we're going to talk about the psychological collapse that happens inside them when your silence stretches longer than they expected. You think they're fine? Oh no, my friends. That's when the real unraveling begins. Number 2, the psychological collapse after silence. Silence is not empty. It's full of answers they don't want to hear. My friends, when you go silent, you are not just cutting off sound, you are cutting off their lifeline. People who thrive on your reactions are like deep-sea creatures that depend on a certain current to survive. They don't know how to live without it. And when that current stops, when you stop feeding them the validation, the arguments, the emotional drama, something inside them starts to rot. Slowly at first, then faster than they ever thought possible. Picture this. Imagine a puppet show. The puppets dance, wave, and put on a whole performance, but only because someone is pulling the strings. Now imagine the puppeteer suddenly lets go. The strings fall slack. The puppets collapse. That's what happens inside them when your silence kicks in. You were the strings. Your reactions were their control. Without you, there's nothing left to keep the show running. The first stage of their collapse is denial. They tell themselves you're just being dramatic. They'll be back, they think. They always reply eventually. They scroll through old messages, looking for patterns, convincing themselves this is temporary. But deep down, a tiny voice starts whispering, "What if they're really gone this time?" That's when the anxiety starts to rise. The second stage is irritation. This is where they poke. They send a short random text, "Hey," or they drop something vague online just to see if you'll bite. They're fishing for proof that they still have access to you. And when you don't respond, irritation turns into confusion. Why aren't they answering? Did they meet someone else? Are they angry? Do they think they're better than me? And here's the part they won't say out loud. It's not just confusion, it's fear. Fear that the control they once had is slipping away for good. Fear that they've lost their place in your life. Fear that you've woken up to the truth, that you don't need them anymore. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." In your silence, you're embodying that wisdom. You're refusing to do or say anything that feeds their chaos. You're showing them, without a word, that you've stepped out of the role they assigned you. And that is a threat they cannot handle. By the third stage, their mind starts spiraling. They replay old conversations, looking for clues. They dig through your social media, checking for signs of life. They ask mutual friends questions without making it too obvious. And if you've really stayed silent, if you've truly cut off their access, this is where the mask starts to crack. Why? Because people who manipulate thrive in distraction. Your reactions used to distract them from themselves. Now, without that distraction, they're stuck facing a truth they've been avoiding for years. They don't like who they are when no one is feeding them attention. Your silence is like a mirror, reflecting all the parts of themselves they can't stand to look at. Imagine someone standing in front of a mirror that shows not their appearance, but their character. Every lie they told, every moment of manipulation, every time they took you for granted. It's all there. That's what your silence feels like to them. And most people, they would rather smash the mirror than face what's in it. This is why they'll often try to provoke you after a long silence. They can't handle the quiet, because in the quiet, their thoughts get loud. They start remembering the things you said, the warnings you gave, the boundaries you set, and instead of dealing with the guilt or shame, they try to make you break the silence so they can feel like they're in control again. Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." And here's the beauty. When you choose not to react, you flip the dynamic completely. You go from being the one under their influence to being the one influencing them without even trying. The longer you stay silent, the heavier it becomes for them. Silence is weight, and every day they don't hear from you, that weight grows. At first, it's a pebble, annoying but manageable. Then it becomes a rock they carry around in their mind. Then a boulder that follows them everywhere. They wake up thinking about it. They go to sleep thinking about it. And here's the delicious irony. By ignoring them, you're on their mind more than ever. But here's where many people fail. They break the silence too soon. They give in to curiosity. They check in just to see how the other person is doing. And in that moment, all the weight you built up disappears. It's like letting the air out of a balloon. That's why self-mastery is so important here. You're not just ignoring them to teach them a lesson. You're ignoring them to protect your peace, to prove to yourself that you can live without their chaos. And yes, it's hard. At times, the silence will feel like it's burning a hole in your chest. You'll wonder if you're being too harsh. You'll wonder if maybe they've changed. You'll wonder if this is the moment to break it. But remember, silence isn't about punishing them. It's about protecting you. It's about refusing to play a game where the only prize is your own peace being stolen. Seneca said, "He suffers more than necessary who suffers before it is necessary." When you break your silence for someone who hasn't earned it, you're suffering before it's necessary, handing them the power to hurt you again. So when their psychological collapse starts, when the cracks form and the panic sets in, your job is not to rush in and patch them up. It's to let them feel what it's like to live without you, to realize that access to you was a privilege, not a right. And once lost, it is not easily regained. Think of your silence as the high walls of a fortress. Inside, you're safe, calm and rebuilding. Outside, they're circling, knocking and shouting. Some days you'll hear their voice through the walls. Some days they'll try to climb. But you don't lower the drawbridge just because they're loud. You keep building inside. You keep making your fortress stronger. Eventually, the knocking fades. Not because they've forgotten you, but because they've realized they can't get in. And in that moment, that's when the real power of your silence hits them. You're not playing hard to get. You're not pretending. You're truly gone. And my friends, that is the collapse. That is the moment they understand you are no longer in orbit around them. That is the moment they feel the emptiness they once tried to fill with your energy. It's not revenge, it's reality. So today, I want you to remind yourself of this truth. Your silence is not a weapon of cruelty. It's a tool of clarity. It tells the world and yourself that your peace is worth more than their chaos. Write it in the comments. My silence is my shield. Show them, show yourself, show the world around you, and stay with me, because next we're going to break the biggest lie they'll try to sell you, that ignoring them makes you weak. Oh no, my friends, ignoring them might be the strongest thing you ever do. Number 3, why ignoring is not weakness. The lion doesn't turn when small dogs bark. My friends, that line right there shatters one of the biggest lies they've been feeding you. The lie that if you ignore someone, it means you're scared, avoiding, or too weak to face them. That's what they want you to believe. They want you to think silence is surrender. They want you to think ignoring them is losing the battle. But in truth, ignoring them is the moment you stop playing their game entirely, and nothing is more powerful than that. Let me give you an image. Picture a chessboard. You've been playing for hours, sweating over every move, because the person across from you knows exactly how to bait you. They set traps, they dangle pawns, they move their queen just enough to make you think you're winning. And every single move you make is in reaction to them. But then something shifts in you. You stand up, you walk away, not because you can't win, but because you realize the board, the rules, the game itself, none of it was worth your time in the first place. That's what ignoring them really is. You're not quitting. You're realizing the game was rigged to keep you playing forever. But here's why this is so hard for good-hearted people to understand. You were taught your whole life that mature people talk things out, that strong people confront every problem, that silence is for cowards. And while yes, in healthy relationships, communication is key, this isn't about healthy relationships, is it? This is about people who twist your words, deny your truth, and drain your energy, no matter how calmly or clearly you speak. Epictetus once said, "If you wish to be a writer, write. If you wish to be a lover, love. If you wish to be wise, ignore fools." And that last part, my friends, is gold. Wise people don't argue with those committed to misunderstanding them. They don't hand their peace over to people who weaponize it. They don't waste time convincing someone who's not interested in truth, only in control. So when you ignore them, you're not avoiding conflict. You're refusing to give them the arena they need to perform. You're refusing to be the audience to their circus. And trust me, without an audience, the circus falls apart fast. Now let's address the fear. Because yes, it will creep in. You'll hear the voice in your head. If I ignore them, they'll think they've won. That's exactly the trap they've set for you. They measure winning by your reaction. If you respond, they get to keep playing. If you argue, they get to keep twisting. But when you ignore them, you redefine what winning means. Winning becomes peace. Winning becomes energy you keep for yourself. Winning becomes choosing not to stand in the rain just because someone else forgot an umbrella. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." That's what ignoring is, controlling what's yours to control. You can't change their behavior, their lies, their manipulations, but you can change how much access they have to you. You can decide that their noise never reaches your ears again. And let's be real, ignoring isn't easy. It's not sitting in a corner humming to yourself. It's choosing moment after moment not to open that message, not to scroll their profile, not to replay the last argument in your head. It's feeling the urge to prove yourself right and still staying quiet. It's wanting to show them they're wrong, but knowing they'll never admit it anyway. That kind of restraint. That's strength on a whole other level. Here's a little fun metaphor for you. Ignoring them is like putting down a megaphone when someone's shouting at you from across the street. You could shout back, sure. You could scream your side until your throat is raw, but they're not listening to understand. They're listening to reply, and once you realize that, you stop wasting your voice. You just walk away, and as you disappear around the corner, they're still yelling into empty air. Looks kind of silly, doesn't it? That's the thing they hate most, looking powerless. And nothing makes them feel more powerless than being ignored. Because ignoring is control. Ignoring is saying, "You don't get to dictate my emotional state anymore." Ignoring is removing their hands from the steering wheel of your life. And here's another truth bomb. Sometimes ignoring isn't about them at all. It's about you. It's about creating space in your mind for things that actually matter. Because every second you spend reacting to someone who thrives on chaos is a second you could be building your peace, your health, your future. Ignoring them is like putting down a leaking bucket and finally using both hands to build something that lasts. Of course, they'll try to flip the script. They'll say you're bitter. They'll say you're afraid. They'll even say you're petty. But remember, people who lose access to you will always try to rewrite the story to make themselves the hero. That's not your problem to fix. That's not your battle to fight. In fact, your silence forces them to tell their story without your participation and without your reactions to validate it. Seneca said, "Better to trip with the feet than with the tongue." Let them trip over their own words. Let them explain your silence to themselves in whatever way they need. Your job is to keep walking. Here's the part that might sting a little. Sometimes you keep talking because you want to be understood. But what if I told you they understand you just fine? They just don't care. That's the bitter truth. And once you accept it, ignoring them becomes not only easier, but necessary. Because you realize your words were never falling on deaf ears. They were falling on ears that enjoyed watching you beg to be heard. And this is where you rise. You stop being the one chasing closure and start being the one creating it for yourself. You stop being the one explaining why you deserve respect and start being the one giving that respect to yourself. You stop fighting for a seat at their table and start building your own table, one they'll never get an invitation to. So no, my friends, ignoring is not weakness. Ignoring is the quiet strength of someone who knows their worth. It's the mental discipline of a warrior who chooses their battles. It's the grace of someone who no longer dances every time someone else plays the music. And if you need one more image to hold on to, let it be this. The sun doesn't stop shining because someone closes the blinds. It keeps doing what it does best, shining. And sooner or later, those blinds come open and the light hits them whether they like it or not. That's you when you ignore. You keep shining, you keep growing, you keep living, whether they watch or not. Write this in the comments. My silence is strength. Show them. Show yourself. Show the world around you that you will no longer waste your voice on ears that only want to hear their own echo. And stay with me, because next we're going to talk about what happens inside their head when your silence turns from days into weeks and curiosity becomes obsession. That's when ignoring them stops being just uncomfortable and starts driving them absolutely wild. Number 4, the shift from control to curiosity. The moment you stop chasing them is the moment they start looking for you. My friends, here's where the real twist happens. At first, when you go silent, they think they're still in control. They assume you're sulking, waiting, plotting your comeback. In their mind, you're still orbiting around them, still thinking about them every hour, still checking their every move. But then, the days pass, then the weeks, and you're still silent. That's when the control they thought they had begins to slip through their fingers. And when control slips, curiosity takes over. Let me paint it for you. Imagine someone holding a balloon on a string. They've always kept it close. Sometimes they tug it hard just to see it wobble. Sometimes they loosen their grip just to watch it float a little higher before pulling it back down. They think they own it. But one day the string slips away. The balloon doesn't just float. It drifts higher and higher until it's out of reach. They stand there, staring, wondering where it's going, who will see it, where it will land. They can't stop looking up. That balloon is now you. In the beginning, their curiosity is small. Why aren't they answering? Then it grows. What are they doing without me? Then it turns into something deeper, something that eats at them. Have they forgotten me? Are they happier now? Who's making them smile? The human mind, my friends, can handle almost anything except unanswered questions. And your silence is one big unanswered question they can't solve. And here's where it gets interesting. The more they try to figure you out, the more you start living rent-free in their head. They could be out with friends, smiling, laughing, pretending to be unbothered. But in the back of their mind, the question lingers. Why have they gone so quiet? It's like a song they can't stop humming, even though they don't know all the words. Epictetus said, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." In this context, it means you have to be okay with them underestimating you at first. Let them think you're pouting. Let them think you're weak. Because the longer you maintain your silence, the more their narrative falls apart. And when it does, their curiosity becomes a hunger. They might start accidentally bumping into you. They might ask mutual friends how you're doing. They might stalk your social media in the middle of the night. At first, it's subtle. Then, it's desperate. But here's the beauty. None of that matters to you anymore. You're not silent to make them curious. You're silent because you finally realized they don't deserve the backstage pass to your life. Their curiosity is just the side effect. Now, let's break a lie they'll try to sell you. If they really cared, they'd ask directly. No, my friends, sometimes people care deeply, but their ego won't let them show it. They'll poke around in indirect ways. They'll drop hints. They'll send half messages. Why? Because asking directly would mean admitting they've lost control, and for someone used to being in charge, that's terrifying. The shift from control to curiosity is powerful because it reverses the roles. You go from being predictable to being a mystery, and nothing draws human attention like mystery. Think about it. When's the last time you read a book and stopped halfway because you already knew the ending? The unknown pulls us in, and when you stop giving them updates, explanations, and justifications, you become the ending they can't read. Here's the funny part. The more they try to figure you out, the less they understand. Why? Because they're basing everything on the old version of you. The version that reacted instantly, the version that defended themselves, the version that made sure they were always understood. But that version is gone. You've evolved, you've leveled up, and their outdated map no longer matches the territory. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy." And that's exactly what you're doing. You're not playing their mind games back at them. You're not posting cryptic messages to make them jealous. You're simply living, growing, becoming. And in doing so, you've created a gap between you and them that no amount of guessing can close. Now, they might pretend they don't notice. They might even mock your silence to others. But behind that facade, the questions keep multiplying. What changed in them? Why don't I have the same effect anymore? Who are they now? And here's the thing. They're not just curious about what you're doing. They're curious about who you're becoming. That's the part they can't stand, knowing that you might be out there becoming someone they'll never have access to again. And yes, there will be moments when their curiosity turns into action. They'll test the waters with a message, a comment, maybe even an apology. But understand this: curiosity doesn't mean change. Just because they want to know what's going on in your world doesn't mean they deserve to be back in it. Sometimes they come back not because they value you, but because they value the control they used to have. The real victory here is not in making them curious. It's in staying detached when they are. It's knowing that their curiosity is no longer your concern. It's smiling at the thought that while they're busy wondering, you're busy living. Seneca said, "It is the power of the mind to be unconquerable." That's what this shift is about. You've gone from being conquered by their approval to being completely free of it. You've gone from seeking their attention to commanding their attention without lifting a finger. That's not weakness. That's mastery. Think about it. When they had control, you were the one losing sleep. You were the one overthinking. You were the one checking your phone every few minutes. Now the roles have reversed. They're the ones tossing and turning. They're the ones replaying old conversations. They're the ones scanning for clues. And you're finally sleeping like a baby. So let them wonder, let them scroll, let them replay. Your life is not a public broadcast anymore. It's an invite-only screening, and their name isn't on the list. The shift from control to curiosity is the moment you realize you're no longer the one knocking on their door. You're the one deciding who gets to knock on yours. And here's the affirmation I want you to own today. Write it in the comments so it's locked in your mind. I am the mystery they can't solve. Show them. Show yourself. Show the world that your silence isn't a game, it's your standard. Stay with me, because next we're going to dive into why indifference hurts them far more than anger ever could, and how choosing not to care becomes the sharpest edge in your arsenal. That's when ignoring stops being a choice and starts becoming your natural state. Number 5. Indifference hurts more than anger. Your anger feeds them, your indifference starves them. My friends, you've heard me say it before, but it's worth repeating. When someone thrives on control, anger is still a form of connection. As long as you're mad, as long as you're fighting, they still matter in your world. They don't care if you're throwing flowers or throwing knives. Either way, your energy is still flowing in their direction. And that's exactly why indifference, true, deep, unshakable indifference, hits them harder than any outburst ever could. Picture this. You're standing in a boxing ring. Across from you is someone who's been training for this match, not training in skill, but in manipulation. They don't care if they win clean, they just want you to swing. Every punch you throw is proof you're still in the fight. Then one day they show up, fists raised, and you're gone. Not hiding, not knocked out, just not there. They swing at air. That emptiness, that's indifference. And it terrifies them. Here's the part they'll never admit. Anger reassures them. It tells them they still have a grip on your emotions. It says, you still care enough to fight me. But indifference is like a locked door with no keyhole. They can't even try to open it. It's the difference between someone who's mad because you left and someone who doesn't notice you've left at all. Which one hurts more? Marcus Aurelius said, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury." When you choose indifference, you're doing exactly that. You're not lowering yourself to match their chaos. You're not playing in their sandbox anymore. You've stepped onto an entirely different field, one where they can't even compete. But let's be honest, indifference isn't easy to achieve. At first it feels fake. You might still be boiling inside. You might still replay what they said. You might still feel the pull to respond, to set the record straight, to win. That's normal, but indifference isn't about pretending not to care. It's about actually getting to a place where their actions no longer change your state. It's when your mood is no longer tied to their approval, their attention, or their presence. Here's why it's so hard for them. People who manipulate or control are used to being the center of your emotional weather. If they wanted you sad, they could darken your skies. If they wanted you happy, they could throw you a little sunshine, just enough to keep you hooked. But once indifference sets in, they realize the weather report no longer comes from them. You've got your own climate now, and they can't touch it. Think of it like this. Anger is like still having a cord plugged into them. Sure, you're not smiling, but you're still connected. Indifference is when you pull the plug out entirely. And now, no matter how many buttons they press, nothing lights up. That lack of response isn't just silence to them. It's the death of their influence. Here's the lie they'll push. If you really didn't care, you wouldn't ignore me. You'd just talk to me. No, my friends. If you really didn't care, you wouldn't feel the need to explain anything. And that's what confuses them the most. That your absence isn't loud. It's calm. You're not slamming doors. You're just not in the building anymore. Seneca said, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." That's what your indifference does. It leaves them with nothing but their imagination. And trust me, their imagination will torture them far more than your words ever could. They'll imagine you happier without them. They'll imagine you with someone better. They'll imagine that you've outgrown them, and the truth is, you probably have. Here's the key. Anger is reactive. Indifference is intentional. You don't drift into indifference by accident. You build it, step by step. You start by removing your attention from their life. You stop checking their updates. You stop replaying old conversations. You stop putting them in the center of your story. And slowly they move from "everything I think about" to "a chapter I already read." And oh, my friends, when they realize they're just a chapter, that's when they panic. Because they don't want to be a chapter. They want to be the whole book. They want to be the plot twist you can't get over. But your indifference tells them they're just a footnote now, an old plot line in a story that's still being written without them. The best part? Indifference doesn't require them to know you're indifferent. This isn't about showing them you don't care. That would still be about them. This is about living in such a way that your joy, your peace, and your success are untouched by their existence. That's when you win. That's when you've mastered the game they never knew you were playing. And yes, they'll try to provoke you to break that indifference. They'll dangle emotional bait, maybe anger, maybe pity, maybe nostalgia. They'll bring up memories, poke at old wounds, even pretend to apologize. But remember, anything that demands a reaction is an attempt to pull you back into orbit. Your job is to keep spinning in your own galaxy. Epictetus said, "Freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control." Indifference is that freedom. It's the refusal to let your mood, your confidence, your peace hinge on someone who's already shown you they don't value it. Think about a time someone lost their power over you. Really think about it. Do you remember the moment you stopped caring what they thought? That lightness in your chest? That's indifference. And the irony is, by the time you get there, you don't even want revenge anymore. You just want to live. You just want to be free. And let me give you a little secret. When you reach true indifference, you don't need to block them to protect your peace. You don't need to post cryptic quotes. You don't need to keep tabs on their life. You just don't care. Not in a cold way, but in a way that says, "You no longer affect my weather." This is the part that leaves them stunned. They expected anger. They expected tears. They expected a fight. What they didn't expect was for you to keep walking without looking back. To them, that's worse than any revenge, because at least if you're mad, they still exist in your world. But when you're indifferent, they've been erased from it. So today, I want you to lock this truth into your mind. Indifference is not a lack of strength, it's the purest form of it. It's the kind of strength that doesn't need to announce itself, doesn't need to prove itself, doesn't need to convince anyone, it just is. Write this in the comments. I am untouchable. Show yourself. Show the world around you. And most importantly, show that the only thing you feed now is your own peace. Stay with me, because next we're going to break down the circle back effect, why they always seem to return after you've moved on, and how to make sure that when they knock, your door stays locked. Number 6. The circle back effect. They don't come back because they love you, they come back because the door was once open. My friends, let's talk about a pattern you've probably seen play out so many times it feels scripted. You cut them off, you go silent, you rebuild your life, you're finally breathing without their chaos. And then, out of nowhere, there's that message, that "Hey stranger," that "Just thinking about you," that "Hope you're doing okay." You see their name pop up on your phone, and for a split second, your stomach flips. Not because you want them back, but because you know exactly what's happening. They're circling back. Here's the truth they'll never tell you. They didn't have an epiphany about how amazing you are. They didn't suddenly discover respect or regret. They're back because something went wrong in their world. The attention they replaced you with has dried up. Their new supply, whether it's a person, a friend group, or a distraction, isn't filling them the way you did. And when they run out of fuel, they go back to the gas stations they used to rely on. That's you. Imagine this, a traveler wandering from one oasis to another, sipping water here and there, never staying long enough to value it. Then one day they find themselves in a desert, dry, sunburned, desperate. And where do they go? Back to the oasis they know will still have water. Your kindness, your patience, your ability to listen, your loyalty, that was their water. And they think they can just stroll back in and drink again. But here's the problem for them. They expect to find the same version of you they left. The one who would open the door no matter how long they were gone. The one who would believe their excuses. The one who was so happy to hear from them they'd forget the damage that was done. That's why they circle back so confidently. They're betting on the old you. Marcus Aurelius once said, "Time is a river, a violent current of events glimpsed once and gone forever." What they don't realize is that you've been flowing forward in that river while they've been going in circles. They expect to step into the same water twice, but you're no longer there. You've moved downstream. You've grown. You've changed the locks. And here's where the Stoic lens comes in. They're not coming back for love. They're coming back for leverage. They remember how easy it was to pull you back in before, how quickly you forgave, how much energy you poured into proving yourself worthy of their bare minimum. They're not here to invest in you. They're here to withdraw from you. But something's different this time. You've learned. You've seen the cycle. You've survived the withdrawal. And now you see their return for exactly what it is. Not a compliment, not closure, but a test. The circle back effect has stages. First, the soft approach. A casual message, a reaction to something you posted, a mistaken text meant to spark conversation. If you respond, they'll escalate. We should catch up. I've been thinking about the good times. And if you take the bait, the cycle restarts. The love bombing, the slow erosion of your boundaries, the drama, the drain. But if you don't respond, if you stay silent, that's when they switch tactics. They might try guilt. "Wow, I guess you forgot all about me." Or anger. "Guess you're too good for me now." Or pity. "I'm going through a lot right now. I just needed a friend." Every one of those lines is bait. Everyone is a hook with a smile. And the more you've grown, the easier it is to see the hook before it catches you. Seneca said, Every guilty person is his own hangman. When you refuse to re-enter their cycle, you let them live with the weight of their own actions. You don't give them the distraction of your forgiveness to ease their conscience, and that discomfort, that's theirs to carry, not yours. Here's something I want burned into your mind. Just because they knock doesn't mean you have to open. The Stoics teach us to guard the gates of our mind and our life. You decide who gets in, you decide who stays out. And when someone has proven they'll destroy your peace the moment they step inside, your silence isn't cruelty, it's self-respect. Think about it. You wouldn't hire back an employee who stole from your business just because they needed a job. You wouldn't lend your car to someone who crashed it twice just because they missed driving. So why give your heart, your time, your attention back to someone who's already shown they can't handle them with care? The irony of the circle-back effect is that the less you respond, the more intense their attempts become. They'll dig up old photos, old inside jokes, old memories. They'll try to remind you of the person they pretended to be at the start. But here's the harsh truth. Nostalgia is not a promise. Just because something was good once doesn't mean it's good now. And here's where you win. You're no longer making decisions based on missing them. You're making decisions based on remembering who they were when they had you. That's the clarity silence gives you. That's why they fear it. When they circle back, it's not proof of love. It's proof you were valuable. But value means nothing if the person holding it doesn't respect it. You can be the rarest diamond in the world, but in the wrong hands, you're just a paperweight. In the right hands, you're priceless. And now you know better than to hand yourself over to someone who treats you like spare change. Epictetus said, "It is not things themselves that disturb us, but our opinions about them." If you view their return as proof you meant something, you'll be tempted to let them in. But if you view it as proof you've moved on enough for them to notice the loss, you'll keep the door shut. Perspective changes everything. And here's the most empowering part. When they come back, you don't even have to hate them. You don't have to make a scene. You don't have to explain why you're not interested. Your silence will say it all. Your new life, your calm energy, your peace, that's your answer. That's the conversation. So when that message pops up, when that knock comes at your door, remember, you are not obligated to answer. You are not obligated to reopen wounds just because the one who caused them shows up with a smile. You owe yourself more than you owe their comfort. Write this in the comments. Not every door reopens. Show them, show yourself, show the world around you that your boundaries are permanent, not a phase. And stay with me, because next, we're going to talk about how silence stops being just a tactic and starts becoming your way of life. This is when you're not just ignoring for effect. You're living in a state they can no longer reach. And that's the ultimate freedom. Number 7. Silence as self-respect, not strategy. When you stop talking to them, it's not punishment, it's protection. My friends, there's a moment in your healing when ignoring them stops being a move you make and starts being who you are. In the beginning, silence feels like a tactic, something you do to get space, maybe even to get a reaction. But over time, something shifts. You realize it's not about them at all anymore. It's about you. It's about respecting yourself so deeply that chaos is no longer allowed in the room. Silence, at its highest form, isn't about winning against them. It's about winning back your own life. When you first cut contact, you might think of it as temporary. I'll stay quiet until they understand, or I'll give it a few weeks, then maybe we can talk. But real transformation happens when you realize you no longer want them to understand. You no longer want to talk. You no longer need anything from them at all. That's when silence stops being a pause and becomes a permanent boundary. Picture this. You've been living in a house with a leaky roof. Every time it rains, you scramble with buckets and towels, trying to save the floor, the furniture, yourself. You call the landlord, you try to patch it, you hope it holds. But the rain always finds a way in. One day, you decide, enough. You pack your things, you leave the house, and you move into a place with a solid roof. You don't stand outside your old place waiting to see if they fix it. You don't send letters about the repairs. You just live under your new roof in peace. That's what true silence is. You've moved houses, and they no longer have the address. This is the difference between silence as a strategy and silence as self-respect. Strategy says, I'll be quiet so they realize what they lost. Self-respect says, I'll be quiet because I don't allow this energy in my life anymore. One is about them noticing you, the other is about you noticing yourself. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." Silence, when rooted in self-respect, is both of those things. It's right because it honors your peace. It's true because it reflects your standards. You don't stay silent to manipulate. You stay silent because there's nothing left worth saying. And here's what's beautiful. When silence becomes a lifestyle, it's not just about one person. It's about everything. You stop explaining yourself to people committed to misunderstanding you. You stop defending your choices to people who never respected them. You stop trying to convince the world of your worth. You carry yourself differently. You become harder to access. Not because you're bitter, but because you're selective. At first, this might feel strange. If you've spent years over-explaining, over-apologizing, over-giving, living with this level of quiet will feel foreign. But slowly, you'll notice something. Your days have more space. Your thoughts feel lighter. You have energy for the things and people who actually deserve it. Silence creates room for your life to grow. And for them? Oh, my friends, it's devastating. Because when silence is just a strategy, they can wait it out. They can bide their time, knowing you'll eventually break. But when silence is who you've become, they can't wait you out. There is no other side of it. There's no countdown to the day you open the door again. That door has been taken off the hinges and replaced with a wall. Epictetus said, "It is not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." And the deepest reaction is often no reaction at all. When you stop reacting altogether, they realize something far worse than losing an argument. They've lost access. Not just to your voice, but to your mind, your heart, your energy. And once you've lived without them long enough, you realize you're not missing anything worth going back for. Self-respect is quiet, but it's not weak. It's the stillness of a mountain, unmoved by storms, unchanged by seasons. People can scream at a mountain, throw rocks at it, curse it, beg it to move, but it doesn't. And over time, they realize it never will. That's you when your silence is rooted in self-worth. And here's the thing most people don't understand. Silence like this isn't built overnight. It's forged in the fires of every time you lowered your standards for someone who wouldn't raise theirs. Every time you broke your own rules to keep someone else comfortable. Every time you argued when you knew it was pointless. Every time you let them back in when they hadn't earned it. Eventually, you hit a breaking point. And from that point on, the silence you give isn't punishment, it's policy. Let them call you cold. Let them call you distant. Let them call you whatever they need to sleep at night. The truth is, you're not cold, you're clear. You're not distant, you're discerning. You're not heartless. You've just decided your heart is no longer a playground for people who don't know how to take care of it. Seneca said, "Associate with people who are likely to improve you." Silence makes that possible, because when you stop giving time to people who drain you, you create time for people who fill you. And once you taste that kind of peace, the old chaos feels ridiculous. This is why silence as self-respect is unstoppable, because it's not reactive. It's not waiting for a result. It doesn't care what they think. It doesn't care if they notice. It doesn't care if they regret. It only cares if you keep your peace. And when you live like that, there is no manipulation, no guilt trip, no provocation that can drag you back. So if you're in that place now, if you've been wondering when to speak, when to explain, when to answer, here's your sign. You don't owe them a single word, not because you're trying to hurt them, but because you've finally decided to protect yourself. This is not about silence as a weapon. It's about silence as a shield. You're not swinging at them anymore. You're not even facing them. You're walking in another direction entirely. And that, my friends, is what they can't stand. Not that you're mad, but that you're gone. So write this in the comments right now. My silence is my self-respect. Let it be your reminder. Let it be your standard. Let it be the proof that you have stepped into a new chapter where your peace is the prize and your energy is sacred. And if this spoke to you, if you felt that fire in your chest while hearing these words, then I want you to press that like button, share this with someone who needs it, and subscribe to Powerful Stoic Habits. Because this isn't just about learning to be silent, it's about learning to be untouchable. And the journey we're on together, it's just getting started.